Hey everybody, this is Whoa Beast Shooters. That was a weird noise. And anyways, we're about to do a what if on whether the event of the Transformers 1986 movie would have changed if the Decepticons brought their own shuttles. So starting off, in the movie, the Autobots, they all took a shuttle to Earth because they needed to get some energon. But that turned out to really not work out very well because a few Decepticons broke in and killed all of them, taking it over. So they didn't take their own shuttle. Instead, they took an Autobot shuttle all the way to Autobot City. Upon about almost reaching there, an Autobot figures out that they're actually in there instead of their backup and starts shooting at the ship, destroying it, which caused everybody to flee. They all spread out and immediately begin attacking the planet. Not the planet. No, the city. The city battle takes pretty long. It actually takes a whole day, and within that day, the city is almost basically destroyed, and the Decepticons are basically winning the battle. This was mostly due to the fact that they brought along Devastator, which is a large combiner composed of 6 components. If it weren't for that, they might have not done very well due to their low numbers. But let's assume that they brought their own shuttles instead of having to bring to another one. And a good example is that Devastator was so strong he could only be taken down by all 5 Dinobots, which are extremely powerful. And that took a while too, and he even took them all down before he actually fell himself and destroyed a ton of the city. And if they actually brought all their combiners, yeah, there's more, they would have won much sooner than they did with just bringing Devastator. But there wasn't enough room in that shuttle, so they just brought him. So instead, if they actually brought their own shuttles, they could have brought Motormaster and his Decepticons, which form Menasor. You see Menasor compared to Optimus Prime and Megatron right here, and you can see that Menasor is extremely large and extremely powerful. But due to the fact that they had to take over a small shuttle, there was enough room for him on there, and they couldn't take him to the battle. He could have really changed the game right there, easily defeating all the forces with Devastator and Menasor combined. Also, which they could have brought, was Bruticus, yet another 5-component combiner, which is about the same size as Devastator, who is extremely tough and could have really done some good in the fight and would have ended the battle soon. However, they were not brought onto the ship. After losing the battle and, of course, Megatron getting beat up, they decide to retreat and going into their small transport of Astro Train, who's just a trooper who can just so manage to turn into a train and a shuttle that can accommodate all of them. And since since their only shuttle was destroyed, he was their only source of transportation off. And so basically, you can see here that already there's not that much room on there. It's pretty cramped. So then they make an idea to start kicking people off because there's not enough room and they won't be able to make it in time because it's too heavy. So the strongest people, which you see here, the Constructicons who just formed Devastator earlier, decide that the strongest people should survive, and they start pushing off the weak people, including Megatron himself, off the shuttle. This includes, so Starscream basically just throws Megatron off the shuttle. This is all because their only shuttle was destroyed during the fight. But if they actually brought their own shuttle, this wouldn't have happened. And this would have completely changed everything. You see, Megatron and some of his troops wouldn't have gotten thrown off. Instead, they would all have been able to stay on because they have plenty of room in their shuttles. Also, the combiners meant that they wouldn't do so badly. So in the movie, Starscream actually takes leadership, though it's not for long. You can see Astro Train right next to him on the left. You see how he's about the same size as everyone, so you can clearly see what kind of space they were dealing with. But if that didn't happen, Megatron would still be around, and Starscream would probably get overthrown for his actions due to the fact that he almost decided to remove him from the ship But assuming they brought their own shuttles, they not only could have brought all the combiners, but they would have had enough space so that nobody had to get thrown off. Also, the attack wouldn't have lasted that long, and they didn't have to go for the element of surprise because they had all their weapons. So, it wouldn't really change that much in the series, except maybe the fact that Megatron would probably stay Megatron because he didn't get thrown off the ship. But I'll get more on that later. So basically, all the combiners would be there. It would probably be a much easier fight for the Decepticons, and the ship that the Autobots had would probably no longer be useful, so they just ditch it anyway. They would still probably destroy the ship, but they would still definitely not need it if they brought their own. Maybe they just didn't have their own or something, or maybe they just really need to make a quick attack. But if they were more prepared, they would have easily wiped out the whole city without any resistance. So this is Woe Bee Shooter with my first attempt to make a what if.